Yep, freedom to the right to assemble peacefully.
The right to petition the government.
Petition is in there as well, and
Freedom of press.
freedom of press, and one more.
Freedom of religion.
Yep, you can practice whatever religion you choose, and the government can't prevent that. So now, individually, I'll give you a couple of minutes to look at this and to see how these political cartoons relate to the First Amendment. Yep, you can talk to in your small groups once you're. The name tags, the first one says Westboro Church, and then it says Supreme Court.
I think the first one you can, as a student, or anybody, you don't have to support the truth.
The Supreme Court supports it.
You can call it.
On their name tags, it says Westboro Church on one of them, and then it says Supreme Court on the other. It's Westboro Church.
Well, that makes more sense.
All right, I hear we're all talking, we're discussing. I hope they're good discussions. Would anybody care to elaborate on the first one? I know many of you had questions about what they were wearing. The first one says, the Westboro Church, thank God for dead soldiers, on one shirt, and on the other, Supreme Court, I'm with stupid. So does anybody want to elaborate on this first? Devin?
Westboro Baptist Church is really a religious group that they often go to funerals for soldiers and pretty much rally and cheer that these soldiers are dead. And although we can't do anything about it, so they're expressing their freedom of speech. They can legally do this. Nobody really agrees with them. Or they don't necessarily agree with their thoughts, but they have to support what they're doing.
Yeah, so according to the First Amendment, they're not doing anything against the law. It's just many people don't agree with them, and it causes controversy. All right, does anybody want to elaborate on that second cartoon? Yep, Emily? Oh, to the right. Or, yeah, right. Oh, you wanted to? Okay. Della.
I think this question is really important because it elaborates whether or not free speech applies to what we say on the internet, and whether or not that's part of free speech or words like that.
Yeah. Every time when we're on a social media website, we're practicing free speech. Whether we post, a lot of people like to post politically driven comments on Facebook or on Twitter, and this is one form that how we all practice the First Amendment. And how about the one with the Bart Simpson cartoon?
What's happening here is that he probably burst in class and his teacher said that it wasn't allowed, and he was trying to say, well, I guess burping isn't free speech then.
Yeah, Like a lot of people like to say, well, it's a free country when they get in trouble, or might try and say, well, what about my First Amendment rights? Well, there's still rules in society. We still have schools can have rules, and although you might be technically protected from the government, you're not going to go to jail for burping in class. You can still get sent to ISS. So Angela, please don't burp in my classroom. All right, and then the fourth cartoon. This one I'll just take. It I kind of cheated. It relates to all the amendments, and it's kind of a joke that Congress is trying to take away our basic rights so that technically they can make any law that they choose. But going on, we're going to be learning about the Bill of Rights. And while we do this, I want to use this reading strategy called SMART. It stands for self-monitoring approach to thinking and reading and thinking. And there's 5 basic steps to this approach reading strategy. The first one, to help you remember the acronym STEPS, pretty easy to remember. First one, stop. After each paragraph or section, I want you to stop. If you understand it, just put a check mark in the margin. If you have questions on it, put a question mark. Then you go to think. After each paragraph, you got to think about what was this about? What did you understand? Then after you do that, you examine the text. What didn't you understand? What made this text confusing? Were there words that you didn't understand that you should define? Were there ideas that you need to understand better to wrap your mind around the text? Then you search these ideas. Then there's progress. You keep reading, and then you follow the first 4 steps again. Then once you're done with the text, you study it. What did you understand? What was the point that was trying to get across in the text? Then research more ideas that you didn't understand. And the most important part is to reread the sections that have a question mark, because sometimes you're going to understand these sections after reading the whole passage. Now, on the back of the sheets that I handed out to you, there is the preamble to the Bill of Rights. We're going to, as a class, read this and go through the SMART reading strategy. And yeah. So who wants to first read the first paragraph aloud in class? Allie? Yep.
Congress of the United States began and held at the city of New York on Wednesday, the 4th of March, 1780.
Stop. All right, let's think as a class. What was this section about? Does anybody want to, what was the key concept? Does anybody want to share what they think the key concept was?
When the Congress first met to begin the Bill of Rights.
Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. It's where they met and when they met. So let's examine what was confusing about this part. Was there anything confusing or what could have been written better to help us understand?
Why is it like written out 1,000?
That's I hate it in history when they decide to write out things. So if I were you, I might be writing the margins the actual number, because that helps me wrap around when this actually happened instead of thinking 1,789. Yeah. All right, and then P, progress. Who wants to read the second paragraph? Angela.
The conventions of a number of the states having at the time of their adopting the Constitution expressed a desire, in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers, that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added. And as extending the ground of public confidence in the government will best ensure the benefit ends of its institution.
Stop! All right, in the margins, check or question mark. A lot of that went through one ear and out the other for me. So let's think about what was being said in this section. Who wants to try and identify some key concepts?
That it was a number of the states meeting together to keep the government from abusing power.
Yes. How are we going to do this?
By adding this
So basically, this whole part is saying, in case the government gets too abusive in the powers, we can add some amendments to the constitutions to help correct this process. All right, let's examine what could have been, what was confusing in this section. Yeah, you're going to notice in the Bill of Rights that they like to use big words and be complicated when they could easily said everything in one sentence. This is common throughout these documents.
Conventions of a number of the states, conventions, a number of.
Yeah, that could be something you write in your notes so that you have to research later on in the, maybe tonight. All right, let's progress. Who wants to read the third paragraph? Emily.
Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America, and Congress assembled 2/3 of both houses concurring, that the following articles be proposed to the legislatures of the several states, as amendments to the Constitution of the United States, all or any of which articles, which ratified by 3/4 of the said legislatures, to be valid with all intents and purposes, as part of the said Constitution.
Stop. Oh, wait. Yeah, stop. Right? Sorry, I got carried away. Let's examine, let's think what was happening in this text. What are some key concepts? Angela?
Something about 2/3, I think it's important, but I don't understand what.
Yes. 2/3 is a very important part of this paragraph. Does anybody know what about the 2/3?
Any passing laws have to be 2/3 in the House and have to be 3/4 in the Senate.
It has to be 2/3 both in the Senate and the House of Representatives. So they basically introduced this new amendment, and both the Senate and the House have to agree 2/3 majority in order for the bill to pass. And then after that, it gets passed to the states, which 3/4 of the state legislators have to agree to put it in the Constitution. And then it becomes an amendment. Note that it doesn't have to go to the president, so it doesn't need to go to the White House to be signed. Now let's progress. Who wants to read the last paragraph?
Articles in addition to and amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America, proposed by Congress and ratified by the legislatures of the several states pursuant to the 5th article of the original Constitution.
Stop. All right. So who wants to elaborate on this section?
Is it saying that amendments will be from the 5th article?
It is saying
Wise?
close. It is saying once these get passed, that we follow the 5th article of the original Constitution. We take the amendment and carry it onto there through that process. So now that we're done with this section, with this reading, we'll study this. Now, a lot of you have questions. Well, what is that 5th article of the original Constitution? That's going to be part of our homework today. So in your notes, write that we have to understand what that 5th article of the Constitution, and then tomorrow we're going to be talking about the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Amendment. So I want you all to do the SMART reading strategy in your books on the 2nd through 4th Amendment. Is there any questions? I would rather you write in your notes in this and just take note what paragraph the First Amendment, question mark if you didn't understand it, check mark if you did. All right.